Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you very much for joining me and everyone. As usual, before we start, we will do the Refuge for Immeasurables and Heart Sutra. On page 3. In the Buddha Dharma Sangha Aitere Vire Ladama Vachu Adyehandala Ajare Vada Vudu in the Buddha Dharma Sangha Aitere Vire Ladama Vachu Adyehandala Ajare Vada Vudu in the Buddha Dharma Sangha Aitere Vire Ladama Vachu Adyehandala Ajare Vada Vudu. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power for happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power for happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power for happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion to those near and far. Heart Sutra is page 11. The perfection of wisdom is beyond thought and expression, being unborn and unceasing. Its nature is sky. I pay homage to the domain of discriminating self-awareness, mother of victors of 3 times. Thus I've heard at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with the Great Assembly Sangha and Great Assembly Bodhisattva. At that time, Blessed One was absorbed in samadhi on the enumeration of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Superior Avalokitesvara was contemplating on the meaning of the profound perfection wisdom, and he saw that the 5 aggregates also of empty of inherent existence. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Superior Avalokitesvara, how should son or daughter of good lineage train who wishes to practice profound perfection wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokitesvara said this to Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good lineage wishes to try and practice profound perfection wisdom should view in this way. They should correctly view those 5 aggregates also empty of inherent existence. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition factors, consciousness are all empty. Shariputra, in the same way, all phenomena are merely empty. They are without characteristic, they are not created, they do not cease, they have no impurity, they are not devoid of impurity, they do not decrease and increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factor, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no phenomena. There is no eye element and so forth up to a mind element, up to them, no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance and so forth. There is no aging and death and no exhaustion of aging and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they depend on and abide on perfection wisdom. Because their mind is without obstruction, they are without fear. Having completely passed beyond all error, they go to completion nirvana. All the Buddhas abiding in 3 towns are having rely upon the perfection of wisdom, became perfectly manifold Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed perfect and complete Buddhahood. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom is the mantra of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra. Mantra that is equal to unequal, mantra that thoroughly passes for all suffering. Because it is not false, it should be known as true. The mantra of perfection of wisdom is Tadyata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sangate Bodhi Swaha. Shariputra, a bodhisattva, Mahasattva should train the profound perfection of wisdom in that way. Then the Blessed One arose from the Samadhi and said, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, superior of Lokatasha. Well done, well done, well done, one of good lineage. It is just one of good lineage, it is just like that. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, even the Tathagatas rejoice in this. The Blessed One having so spoken, Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, superior of Lokatasha, all that are gathered in there, those of the worlds, gods, humans, God, demigods, Gandharvas, were filled with admiration, praise the words of the Blessed One. So now we are continuing where you have left last week with Jamyangla. So, as you know, this writing is a letter to a friend. The letter is written by Nagarjuna. This is, and his friend is King Gautamiputra. And this consists of 100 over verses, and which addresses the general kind of instructions for all people, and specifically the layman and laywomen, and then specifically to people who are seeking the higher liberation. So, instructions right now we're going through the instructions to both householders and those who have renounced the householder life as a monastic, how to pursue higher states and supreme beatitude, which means the higher rebirth and liberation. So for this he talks about the actual common goals of achieving Dharma, and that is practicing Dharma devoted to achieve the supreme liberation, and how one can best to do so. How can one make sure that precious human body is utilized? So those are the two main topics. And here, first of all, it goes to how the Dharma is common for both goals, both achieving the beatitude as well as liberation. But first, one has to, in order to make your life very meaningful, you have to learn to regulate how to take food. So that was covered in the verse number 38. Regulating the amount of food and what we eat, and avoiding excessive sleep. So so now verse number 39 goes with discuss with that, where it says, "Occupy yourself with the essence of knowledge during the whole day, and the first and last period of night contemplate mindfully until even your period of sleep is not fruitless." So talking about the need to utilize your effort, your time management, not only during the day, but also you need to learn to carefully time when to sleep, and so that the however virtuous and wholesome things you have been engaged during the day, that the night too should be divided into 2 portions, and make sure that the time that you sleep is not fruitless, but it become meaningful. So therefore, you need to sleep in a proper manner. Of course, firstly, it's talking about time when to sleep. In order to make the night not be fruitless, it means that some people often can't go to sleep because they have so many thoughts. They either stay up too late, or drinking, or doing other things, or they can't go to sleep for whatever reasons. He says that one should divide the night time carefully, and so that in order to refresh both the body and the mind, one should know when to go to sleep. Because even to go to sleep, you have a strong motivation to go to sleep. Because the more you time your time to sleep very well, that way your body needs a particular amount of hours, so you will get the physical need as well as mentally being able to do that. Because Buddha himself took great liberty to divide up the night into portions of first period of night, do a little bit of walking and sitting meditation, and then you practice your mind in the try to clear your mind of all the bad thoughts or experiences or perceptions that did occur in the day, that don't make that carry over into your night, but try to confess them. If there are any, try to forgive those whose activities, actions seem to have affected your mind. You should apologize them. It says you have to purify the obscuration. Obscuration means that your perceptions and perception of others' actions and your own thoughts about them. So one should think about that before going to bed, and not let those thoughts get into the night's sleep. In the middle of the night, after having finished of the practice, then you therefore arrange your time to go to bed and lie on the right side, and usually what they call reclining posture. Buddha himself said you have this reclining posture. With the wish to, because when it says you should go to sleep mindfully, until your mind is mindful, until even your body period of sleep is not fruitless, so that you should not have your sleep become fruitless. If your sleep is fruitless, either you're not going to sleep because you're filled with some unresolved issues of the day, you're thinking too much about the tomorrow or things like that. So you should try to confess those events during the day, if that is bothering you, and rejoice those things you've seen good and so on. And therefore your mind is so totally meaningful, you feel very contented to go to sleep. So that in the Mahayana, Vajrayana tradition, we talk about sleeping yoga. Sleep is an hour that at least is 1/3 of your life. So if you live, say, 90 years, 30 years we sleep. And so if your formal practice takes a couple of hours a day, and the sleep is 8 hours a day, and sleep itself is not incorporated into the practice, it's quite a waste of time, because sleeping itself is considered to be a neutral karma. But neutral karma for practitioners should transform into positive karma. And so how do you transform sleep as a positive karma? You should rejoice the day, remember the qualities of the triple gem and the 6 remembrances we talked about, as well as good deeds you have done, or study, or reflection on the Dharma, or whatever good you have witnessed, you should rejoice them, dedicate them. Whatever difficulties that you've seen or experienced, you should see them as a dreams and illusion, and let go and not let them stay in your mind. And then if you go to sleep with a very good intention that tomorrow I will wake up such and such time and to do my duties, so with that kind of anticipation, then you are going to sleep mindfully. And if you are able to incorporate, some of you may have already got sleeping yoga practices, it says in any deity yoga meditators, they have to incorporate the deity yoga. So you should do mindfully go to bed so that your sleep is fruitless, not fruitless. It's so that you do incorporate the sleeping yoga. You don't go to sleep like a cow with a mouthful of grass in your mouth and falling asleep. And I'm sure you have a few rituals you do before going to bed. Do those things and bow down before the Buddha 3 times and pay homage, confess negative karma, rejoice good deeds, and then go to bed. So that is what it's really, really encouraging you to be able to to be able to do. And then verse number 40 now moves on to how to do the meditation on the 4 immeasurables. Four immeasurables. Constantly meditate upon loving kindness, compassion, joyfulness, and equanimity. Even though the highest goal may not be reached, the happiness of the Brahma realm will be attained. So here it highlights the importance of loving kindness. So as soon as you rise up in the morning, if you can remember loving kindness, to practice loving kindness towards any sentient beings, and that is to making them, whatever you can make them happy. You try to do small acts of kindness. And so loving kindness really means doing things that are cause of happiness, saying things that will contribute to the happiness of someone else. And if you see sentient beings who you are loving, kind towards others, but nevertheless they're full of their suffering. Their suffering, their problems are kind of pouring out, seeking for help. That you can see that in deep distress. For them, you have to develop compassion, because compassion is a willingness to empathetically accept the sufferings of others and not judge them, and not banish them, and not abandon them, not reject them. But working with suffering sentient beings is a practice. Suffering is not a hindrance to our growth. Suffering is actually a great cause of our uncompassion and great cause to purify unresolved aversion to sufferings of the past. So compassion to others. And then, of course, joyfulness refers to that, you need to think about the things that are small, but nevertheless considerably important cause of your delight and joy. Yeah, say your kindness, your parents, your home, your joy, your school, your loved ones, your pet, your job, your education, your freedom, and most importantly, people who are in Dharma, their ability to meet the Dharma, and have the small practice that you have since how long time you have now up to now. You should rejoice, Don't always try to expect too much too soon a result. People don't know how to be joyful. Joy is such amazing. Seeing good in others, even you don't have much good in yourselves. Never mind. You just see the good of others. Don't look on the flaws of others. Who needs to check on and pick on other people's flaws? Those people who did just totally destroy their friendship with others. But those who are able to remember the goodness of others, they continue to develop joy and then continue to stay happy. Those people who have picked on somebody, and then they remain miserable ever since until they change, if they ever do. So joyfulness is not a kind of kind of a practice that's limited to people who are in high places of position. Joy is a mental strategy, highest intelligence. Joy is not a material possessions. Joy is not materialism. Joy is true spiritual. The joy of refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. Joy that ever since you really found the Dharma, you know pointless to pick on other people's flaws, which are your own projections anyway, you know. They're not there really. They're just your own neurosis, your own higher unrealistic expectations, anger, jealousy, and therefore you couldn't see their qualities. See, but those who have joy, they start to see qualities. So joy is such a immaterial but very beautifully, spiritually, most an inexpensive virtue is joy. So joy of your kindness of your mother, joy of Dharma, joy of you not doing anger anymore, joy of not resenting anymore, joy of not doing guilt anymore, joy of not judging others. Yeah. And the joy of your friend who is like that, who no longer judge others, who no longer speaks ill of anybody. Joy of your someone, a good friend who never done anything harm to others, who always do smallest things but very good things to others. Just thinking of those. So joy is incredibly productive, cause your inner delight. Joy is inner fire of passion, you know. So those who don't do this, they are depressed, they're cold. They only talk about seeing negativities of others, not only the fact but fiction ones. And they only can see and project negativities, those who lack joyfulness. And the fourth one is equanimity. Equanimity is that no matter how much you love or care, you cannot always please them. So even to those, you should not become too over-concerned. Let it go, just let it be. Don't become too attached even to the dearest and nearest one. Nor do you treat with someone with contempt too much. Don't develop too much aversion to anyone, anything, no matter how terrible thing you think they did. Just give them a break. So Tibetan word for equanimity is tang nyum. Tang means let go. Nyum means equalize. Equalize for yourself to the one you love, to the one who you hate, all equally. So equalize for everyone, by practicing Tang Nyum. Just see the futility and waste of time in extreme attachment to one and extreme aversion to another, and try to see the futility of this division and being right and being wrong and making little groups and divide people very quickly, and this causes schism, and this causes division in the Sangha, even in the family, and so on. Such a waste of energy. So these four, what we call loving kindness, compassion, joyfulness, equanimity, it says you should practice constantly. The word constantly means you should almost remember, like recite that as a mantra, or loving kindness, compassion, joyfulness, equanimity. Yeah, just repeat this four until it become like a mantra, and until it says until you practice it so well that you feel the absence of their antithesis. So say that you don't have ill will, you don't have violence, you don't have sadness, you don't have extreme bias. So if you have that, then you have definitely meditated on the four immeasurables. Even if even though you may not reach great heights of enlightenment from the practice of the four immeasurables. So here Nagarjuna is talking the four immeasurables simply to achieve the state of the Brahma, Tsangpe, there's the state of the Brahma. Brahma is pure one, the God. Brahma doesn't have extreme craving or anger or ill will or sadness, anything like that. Brahma is a state of godly state of awareness. So it's divine, really. When you really practice loving kindness for a few minutes, it is divine, and even calm abiding, even mantra recitation, these are all tools so that you can actually be in a state of mind that is devoid of ill will. Say you don't have ill will for a whole day, towards anything, anyone. It's incredible, incredibly blissful, you don't do suffering. That's the whole thing. The loving kindness is such a powerful penicillin for suffering, loving kindness. How much your loving kindness radiate and reach to other person to be happy is anybody's guess. But how much actually prevents suffering, how much more happy you are is incredibly within your reach, Nobody can bar that when you practice loving kindness. So remembering loving kindness, loving kindness, loving kindness, all the time. And even just before your last breath, if you remember loving kindness, I'm sure you wouldn't go to lower realms. It will probably become direct ticket to go to the Brahma realm. And same goes with compassion, same goes with joyfulness and equanimity. This is why this four immeasurable meditation is recited before every Buddhist prayers and every Buddhist meditation, sadhanas, practices. And no wonder why Nagarjuna included this in the 40th verse of his letter to a king, Gautamiputra. People, the Tibetan teachers and Indian authors who put the sadhanas together, they studied these writings like Nagarjuna's so thoroughly, and then they sort of put those important points from those texts and put it in the sadhanas. Of course, these four immeasurables have, here it's a over 1,000-year-old letter written by Nagarjuna, but Buddha has stated that in other earlier texts, sutras. So here it says, you will achieve the Brahma Vihara, and these four immeasurables are not just new only in Mahayana. It's also in Theravada they don't talk about its importance. Its importance. And now we move to a slightly different, higher level. The verse number 41 goes to talk about how to by doing these four immeasurable meditations. Not only you reach the four stages of Brahma, but you actually go to reach the higher stages of four dhyanas. The four dhyanas, thoroughly renouncing sensory pleasure, joy, happiness and suffering, is equal to the attainment of Brahma, clear light, pervading virtue, and a great result. So when one is able to renounce, not only you will achieve the result of the four Brahma Viharas, but you don't actually have this craving. You no longer have the craving for the bliss and happiness and freedom from suffering, because by the virtue of practicing the four immeasurables, you have now overcome, you have completely abandoned the antithesis of these four immeasurables. Because of that, you will gain the states of the four four divine states of the Brahma and clay-light God, and so on, and those with great results. So you will achieve the same realization of the, four the dhyanas that which correspond to Brahma. Brahma is Tsangpa, and clay-light is Vasal, and and then you have Gege is pervading virtue, and a great result is a great result. So these four are talking about four dhyyanas. These four dhyanas is one-pointed of the mind characterized with joy, ease. So this is joy we are referring to is not ordinary joy, and total absence of sorrow, and arising from the discarding of and the withdrawal from sensory pleasure or craving for them, and accomplished by the good meditative reflections. So that's the first dhyana. Second dhyana is one-pointedness of mind concentration, of joy and ease arising from samadhi, and an eradication of all the above-mentioned deliberations. And it is accomplished through the antidote referred to as inner clarity. So that's why it's called. That's why it is called the clear light, because there's amazing clarity in your mind. There's incredible purity in the mind, the first dhyana, incredible clarity in the second dhyana. Third dhyana is one point of mind characteristic of ease, and then achievement of joy. So that is but joy of the qualities of the Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha, and so on, has completely made yourself to find ever expanding joy. This joy is not limited. This is expanding joy. Expanding joy. And the fourth dhyana is one-pointed mental concentration by sensation of equanimity. So this is caused by equanimity. Each of these four dhyanas we are referring to is culmination of the four Brahma Viharas. So that you say you will be able to achieve this equal state of these. And as a result of this, you are able to remain in a mind devoid of extreme aversion to one or attachment to another. You will never see this bias towards again or against another. There's a complete waste of time. One can see that. So you could actually remain in this incredible state of through this practice. So that is the four dhyanas, and now the relative gravity of the karma that is achieved through this practice comes in through the verse number 42. Is talking about the great virtue and non-virtue arise from the five: constancy, clinging, lack of remedy, base of kindness, and base of good qualities. Thus strive to perform the virtue. So this is talking about these five types of virtues and non-virtuous karma. Those that are done constantly, and those done with a strong inclination. So the secondly. Thirdly, lacking a remedy towards, and then exert yourself in this practice. So this is talking about how constantly your ability to stay focused on the path without resorting to a particular antidote, that these four qualities will come about, and the gravity of the goodness of the good karma that you do. As you are become able to exert your effort in diligently practice this virtue, so you need to therefore exert your effort to engage in the constancy and the like qualities of the practice. Verse number 43 goes to talk about the how one should become meticulous in terms of learning to abandon the slightest non-virtue, but practice virtues at all costs. So that's verse number 43. A small measure of salt can change the taste of little water, but not that of the Ganges. Understand that the similarity of a small evil act in comparison to a large root of virtues. So talking about how vigilant one should remain in order to give up even small non-virtues. So you shouldn't disregard small non-virtue. Even little grain of salt, you can see that it can turn the water salty, but of course it cannot change. The small amount of salt cannot turn the whole Ganges River into salty. So one should similarly, even minor evil karma can yield results if one's rudiments of virtues are light. If these rudiments are large and numerous, however, it is unable to do so. So you need to weigh the virtue and non-virtue. So non-virtue shouldn't be overlooked, saying it's a non-virtue, even the slight it can affect. But if your virtues are good, then even small, minor negativities cannot affect your goodness. So it's talking about the gravity of the karma that you create in your everyday life situation. Next verse goes to talk about the 5 obstacles in the meditator's meditation. Agitation and regret, ill will, sloth and sleepiness, desire and doubt. Beware these 5 obscurations, as thieves who steal the wealth of virtues. So these five obstacles refer to when doing meditation. You might have developed some kind of rudimentary renunciation from samsara and have devotion in the triple gem and go to the cave and you start to make a great effort to remain in a retreat. But in the meditation, people often are faced with these 5 hindrances. These 5 hindrances, according to the sequence that are listed in the way it's listed is not quite the sequence, because these actually are first should be the desire. Desire is the first of the hardest of the hindrances. And then also the sleep and the doubt. So the doubt, and of course you have agitation, and as well as regret and ill will. So these are 5 hindrances of meditation. If you have the hindrances of desire, you cannot focus you to do the meditation. Nor can you, when you're starting to focus your meditation, your mind desire comfort or desire this particular outcome from your meditation, and you become so particular about what you want from your meditation. So you can see how desire is the thief number 1. They're talking about they are the thief. They steal the virtues. You try to go in solitude. You go all the way from your home to the temple or monastery, the cave, and there you are robbed by your own desire and craving. You want to be comfortable. You want to be this temperature. You want this quiet. You want to be this noisy, less, and so on. So even though you thought everything will be like that, you thought there are reasonable external situations set up for that, but you find something is noisy, maybe nature is noisy, maybe light is bright, or maybe it's too windy, or whatever it is. So desire will steal your renunciation and your certitude. You straight away are havoked by the desire. Even when you are not suffering from rampant desire, you feel asleep, you feel so sloth, and you feel so tired, and you feel so exhausted. And then when you're not affected by sleep and torpor, then you have too much doubts. Whether this is for me, maybe this is not good for my health, maybe this is for someone else. Why did I do this? Oh, why did they give me this practice? All kinds of doubts. They say, oh, I should do that one. Oh, I should have done that one. This is not for me. Oh, gosh, I pick up the wrong practice. I pick up the wrong teaching or whatever. And the doubts will steal your concentration. And then you might even have some ill will or resentment that you had towards some. They just keep coming in your mind. You can't focus on a meditation subject. Or you have so much regret or agitation. Why are all these hindrances looming? Is not because you are unfit to practice, but because you are practicing. These obstacles don't manifest unless you're practicing. So therefore, you should have received thorough instructions from the teacher before going to meditation. What are the obstacles in meditation? These 5 obstacles are kind of very traditional. It's nothing unknown. These are universal obstacles. Universal obstacles. No matter how much you prepare, they'll get you. They're not there to obstruct you. They try to test you. They are the checkers of your performance. They are not hindrance from you to making progress. So these obstacles actually is, say the desire is a tester of your contentment. You need to have contentment. Ill will is a tester of your loving kindness. You have to develop loving kindness to yourself, to others. And your sloth and your torpor is a tester of your diligence, Your doubt is a tester of your faith or lack thereof. Yeah, your regret is a tester of your confession, ability to confess. Your agitation is tester of your one-pointedness. So all of these, what appears like obstacles to your meditation, actually these 5 obscurations are potentially 5 wisdoms. They can become. So therefore, instead of giving way to these five thieves of your inner practices, you should learn how to rob the bigger robber. You should be the bigger robber than the robber. So these 5 hindrances, should be conquered. This is really important one. A lot of people I know in their lives, they make lots of preparation to do a retreat. But they gave up because they met one of these 5 thieves, and he was so good in stealing, and and they never found a motivation to do retreat again. They fall back to their laziness, fall back to their attachment to comfort. They don't want to rise early. They don't want to sit long. They don't want to persevere. They didn't remember the Buddha's perseverance for 3 uncountable eons. They didn't realize it is the patience that is the highest virtue. They didn't realize the diligence that is the cause of sentient beings' benefit. Only Buddha practicing with diligence for the benefit of sentient beings did he continue to do and succeeded what he do. But others who false start and never finish, there's so many examples. Only few who started with diligence. And so therefore these 5 hindrances are not just in Dharma practice, but also in your everyday life. So the people who get agitated in meditation because physically they're agitated by noise or heat or whatever, But Buddha never gave in, whether it's heat or cold or dry or wet. He sat there motionless. He used the very agitating causes to conquer his craving or grasping or whatever. The fact that you never overcome obstacles until you understand them. Obstacles is not avoided by removing and running away, escaping from them, but overcoming them by developing an effective strategy and remedy. So sitting there and with diligence and all the rest enables oneself to overcome them. So these 5 obstacles has to be overcome by these practices. So that's verse number 44. Now with the 45, it talks about the importance of the 5 powers and 5 strength. 5 powers and 5 strength. As I will read that in Tibetan. Tetan tsundu tatan trembatang tingzi hirab chonde nganyet delang ngunzon zujin dedan towan higi zemur kurbang laos. This says that earnestly perform the 5 excellent dharmas. What are the 5 excellent dharmas? 1, faith. 2, diligence. 3, mindfulness. 4th, samadhi. And 5th, wisdom. These 5 are both called the 5 powers and 5 strengths. 5 strengths. These are two sets of 5. 5 powers, 5 strengths. Because these 10 virtues constitute 37 of the 37 factors of enlightenment. Because what it does is these 5 powers or 5 strengths are those which will overcome the obstacles that we just mentioned. Because what is faith, for instance? Faith is a sincere belief in the true truths, relative and true truths. And then the vigor or the diligence is the delight in bringing them forth. So the faith and diligence goes hand in hand. And those who do not forget that is the mindfulness. Not forgetting the unition of faith and diligence is the mindfulness. This is talk mindfulness of what, And then the samadhi is the one point of mind directed towards various aspects of the truths. So you're focusing on discerning meaning of the relative and ultimate truth. And so when you have these, then you should exert yourself these 5 qualities. These 5 qualities gives you the power. That's why I call the 5 powers. These 5 powers will give you the energy that you previously lacked. Your energy previously lacked by laziness or doubt, because when you have no faith, the doubt is so debilitating, It de-energizes you, The doubt de-energizes you, faith re-energizes you. Laziness discourages you, diligence encourages you. Yeah, it's good. And remembering this mindfully, the unition of the faith and diligence is the mindfulness, the best of the mindfulness, not forgetting these two. And forgetfulness is forgetting the importance of faith and diligence. What do many people do is they're resorting to the doubt and suspicion and skepticism. A lot of people are putting a lot of investment in the doubt and skepticism to the extreme fashion. Buddha had encouraged to use critical examination, but he didn't say the over-examination. Over-examination destroys your faith and therefore no diligence. If any diligence is wrong diligence in skepticism. Yeah, there's a lot of people have diligence, but it's wrong diligence. They are misplaced diligence. People spend so much time doing so many things. They have lots of diligence, but they misplace this diligence. So when you have the unition of faith and diligence, and the mindful not to forget these two, then your meditative concentration and this wisdom that comes, the excellence out of this. So therefore here Nagarjuna urges the King Gautama Putra, that is you and me, that you should persevere. Because when you do this, you will reach the summit. Summit refers to the 5 strengths, 5 strengths. When you do the path of preparation, first have the heat, then the summit, peak, and then forbearance, then excellent dharma. All these qualities are dependent. So all the dangers mentioned in the 5 hindrances of the meditations, when the 5 hindrances of the meditations are overcome, they become the 5 powers and 5 strengths. 5 strengths. So that's a very important point. Now we come to verse number 46, which is specifically going to talk about importance of getting rid of conceit. For 46, it says, repeatedly contemplate that as one is unable to escape sickness, aging, and death. Yeah, think of the inescapability of like sickness, like we don't want to be sick any day, any month, any year. But the day you fall sick to something, there's no choice, that you cannot, one is unable to escape. Because that's a bygone conclusion. Your karma or your causes or condition, food, diet, or whatever it is, will make you fall sick, I just visited, while I was in Nepal last week, a friend of mine, he looks completely well, but he couldn't stop shaking, and he just says, everything's fine, but except this shaking, So he says, I have a slowly developing Parkinson's, He's in early 80s, but he's otherwise very sharp and eat well and so on, but he can't stop, shaking his hands. He just can't. Why? He's just unable to. He's got wealth, he's got money, he's got 2 sons, he's so far, but he can't. So that's like that. Like that, each and every one of us got some kind of physical illnesses that we are unable to stop, and as well as aging, aging, and inevitable death. Likewise, one's karma is one's own action. Conceit will not arise conceit will not arise through this antidote. So this is talking about how one should properly reflect. I'm not exempt from the condition of sickness. So when you become sick, you should then accept that. This is one kind of sickness that you can avoid. The other sickness is not avoidable. That's the rejecting of sickness, you can stop. You just accept sickness. Some people are getting double sick. Not only the symptoms of the physical sickness, and then they say, poor me, I don't want to have this. But you should totally accept, I will accept my share of sickness. So, you are not exempt from the physical sicknesses, but you may be exempt from the sickness of rejecting the sickness. Aging, death, and separation from the desirable one. Yeah, slowly your loved one, your parents, your friends, your job, your position, your influence, slowly you have to part. The most things that you like most, they will last not long, very long. It also took a long time to get it, but it takes no time to lose it, unfortunately. So likewise, we are not exempt from the effect of our own karma, But ordinary people don't. They think it's someone else's doing. They think that someone else is doing to them. And they don't think it's their own doing. They're not exempt from their own karma, but when it ripens, they are trying to point finger to somebody else and continue to think like that. So, we are not exempt from aging, sickness, death, nor are we exempt from subject to our karma, which is to say that our personal well-being depends on the karma we have performed if we have done good in the past, and therefore not present control. So we have to accept it. So Nagarjuna is telling the king Gautamiputra that when something terrible happens, even as a king, you are a king, but you're not exempt from death. You're not exempt from losing your status and experience and abilities and memory and friendship and influence whatsoever. So therefore, thinking over this again and again prevent one from becoming conceited. That's what this verse is about. By virtue of fact that it functions as the antidote for that attitude. so that this is important because everybody will start to lose. We think that somebody is abandoning us or they're forgetting us, they're ignoring us. No, it's nature of all good things, all things part. So it's not that they don't like you or they don't themselves have no ability to like you. For instance, even you're going to give yourself to them free, they just don't have the need for you. You're redundant for them. They have no need. It's just like a particular shoe size that it's not the shoe doesn't like you. Your feet has overgrown. so therefore, it's not that the shoe is not liking your feet, but it's your own feet has become overgrown, or maybe your feet has shrunk. So don't think it's anything but nature of things. You're not exempt from that. So quite a lot of people really don't understand Dharma. When it comes to difficulty, they don't look in themselves, their own karma. They're not exempt from their own actions, and they think their sufferings, their problems, or their own resolved issues is somebody else. They fall back to the Judeo-Christian view that everything is done to you by somebody like God or evil. They cannot accept that we are not exempt from our own doing, and we are experiencing the very result that we ourselves created. This is a very pertinent Dharma understanding. Here Nagarjuna is pointing to the king Gautamiputra. Reason is because King Gautamiputra and others have not yet achieved the right view. Until you have the right view of Dharma, you will never get to think like this. Those people who see the truth of the Dharma, they will not always externalize the problems. They will stop doing that. They've done that so much. What a waste. What a waste. Do we have to waste anymore? No, they'll stop. They'll stop that. And because they're the true cause of suffering, they're not misapprehending non-cause as a cause. They're recognizing the true cause as true cause, and they try to curtail that. Whereas those who don't see that, they go back and pointing finger at something else and think they themselves are otherwise exempt from their own karma, So that's a very important point. Now we come to the verse number 47, in which Nagarjuna talks about a very important point of the explanation of the right view. The right view. Right view is what we call samyak drishti. Samyak drishti means perfect view, because this right view comes from those five spiritual qualities we mentioned before. And here in verse number 5, verse number 46, yeah, 46. It says, repeatedly contemplate, which we have done there already. Sorry, verse number 47. If higher realms and liberations are sincerely desired, Thoroughly meditate on right view. Even good deeds done by one with wrong view all have unbearable results. So here, now Nagarjuna points to the king, Gautamiputra, in order to illustrate the proper method of meditation, you have to develop the right view. So here that if one desire the liberation, that is from higher realms, means that higher realms meaning gods and human realms, and liberation means liberation from samsara altogether. If you desire the higher realm and liberation, then you have to develop the right view. Until then, you may develop the higher realms and higher realm only. Higher realm only. Of course, you can create some good karma, but you need to develop right view. Thoroughly meditate on the right view. Because otherwise, all the good deeds you do, such as 10 virtuous deeds you perform and so on, but if you did with the wrong view, they will have very unbearable consequences. So therefore, talking about the importance of developing the right view. Next verse, 48 goes, know that humans are in reality impure, unsatisfactory, impermanent, devoid of self. Now, those who do not mindfully contemplate these are ruined by the four wrong views. So now, here in this particular verse, number 48, Nagarjuna highlights the four seals of the Dharma. The four seals of Dharma, of course, Nagarjuna doesn't use the term to say four seals of Dharma, but nevertheless he actually explained what they are. No, the humans are in reality impure. Here, human means human body is impure. It is not to denigrate the body as such, but just telling the facts. The body is constantly causing, and whatever pure things you feed to it, whatever pure things you wear on it, whatever pure things you take into it, as soon as it comes with contact with the body, it becomes soiled. So the whatever comes out of the body are all impure. That's why we have all these cleaning agents everywhere. Cleaning agents everywhere. Couldn't believe the corridor full of all these cleaning agents. That shows how the nine orifices of the body are the 9 outlets of the impure substances, be that mucus from the mouth, snot from the nose, eye wax from the eye, and ear from the ear wax from the ear, and not to mention excrement, urine, sweat, everything. Yeah, you know the human body is in reality is impure. Yet human beings desire, think it is pure, and they always constantly try to conceal the impurities. They try to project it as pure. They try to cosmetically make as it is pure and attractive and long-lasting, and lure each other by these wrong views. So that is telling the nature of the body. Nature of the body is impure, and unsatisfactory means all feelings are unsatisfactory. Meaning that even pleasant feelings are, even pleasant feelings are only temporary pleasant feelings, but will soon change into something else. It wouldn't last, and your friendship, or joy, or your goodness towards each other is feeling very good for a good few months, maybe even years, but then quickly it will sour. So unsatisfactoriness of nature of all things. Why? Because why are things unsatisfactory? All feelings are largely conditioned by a number of factors that are beyond anyone's control. If we have the complete control, we probably will try to make it satisfactory, but we don't, because all feelings are conditioned. All conditions are therefore unsatisfactory. All that is conditioned, unsatisfactory. So all feelings are unsatisfactory. And all phenomena are impermanent. All phenomena material from from solid, inanimate object to animate objects, from matter to consciousness, from possession to positions, from relationship to lack of one. All are impermanent. No matter how stable you feel in a job or possessions, or in a place you're living, or a job you perform, is a completely impermanent. And so this is what do you call people have the wrong view. They want things to be permanent, but nothing is permanent. But they don't know that nothing is impermanent. They think there are lots of things permanent, and they're just missing it out. and they think everybody's have the permanent one, and I'm missing out. And they're always wrongly viewing as there is so-called illusory permanent. There is nothing that is permanent. So here Nagarjuna says, know that in reality that things are impermanent. Know that in reality devoid of self. So that the self that you think you are merely labeled as such, but it lacks anything as it is labeled to. Without the label, even the thing cannot be labeled. So therefore, there is no truly existence. So this nature of impure, unsatisfactory, impure, and devoid of self are respectively antidote to the four wrong views, that thinking the body is pure and desirable. Lots of people suffer that they are tall and they're handsome, or they're young, or they're beautiful, or they're the best looking person, or whatever. How long they last long? They don't last long. They don't realize they're hiding all their impure stuff. Their body is constant source of all the sickness and suffering, and cough and mucus, and they don't realize. Yet they pretend they're look clean or desirable, or they try to make it presentable as possible, just to lure the deluded one again. So then they create this illusion for each other, and they even fool each other as they are. So then they realize what it's really like, and then they get disappointed. They don't realize body is a bag of 36 impure substances. Just to list a few, you wouldn't believe they are that list. You wouldn't like the list of the ingredients that is aggregated. And so on. So those who do not mindful contemplate this are ruined. Yeah. You may wonder, what are the things that are ruining your life? Him, her, they, that, this, that. Most people think he ruined my life, they ruined my life, this sort of thing. But your life is ruined by these four erroneous views. Now Nagarjuna is really coming on to King Gautama Putra. He was slowly weaving. Usually this teaching on these four seals of Dharma comes fairly early. Nagarjuna talks about the first 47 verses to pave the way. King, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And slowly, by the way, he says, look, your own body that is wrapped in silk, and you walk in a procession guided by many sort of hundreds of people before, few after, all these things. You are completely wrapped in silk and many expensive clothes, but your body itself is just an aggregate of impure substances, and all things that you have are unsatisfactory. And everything that you are doing, you seem to have power over things, are impermanent. One day you wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't even know how to put the spoonful of food in your own mouth. You can't even swallow it. And so it's teaching him the inevitable, which actually is very important for all of us to know, that all things are impermanent. There is no self. These four are incredibly four seal of Dharma. They are the really most quintessential. Entire teachings of Buddha, really, whether you're Buddhist or not, is probably philosophically these four. Whether you have refuge, faith in the Buddha, Dharma, is important, but only if you understand these four. If you understand these four, then you will have faith in the Buddha. Oh, what so true what Buddha says. And then you have faith in the teaching. You really believe in the teaching because they are so true. Not only your body is impure, but other body that you desire is impure. Not only your other body is impure, but no matter how much they are unsatisfactory. So your husband is unsatisfactory, your mother is unsatisfactory, yourself is unsatisfactory. This is nature of reality. Buddha is saying the salty water is salty water. He's telling the facts. He's not trying to make everything negative. He's just telling that what's the fact. The truth is bitter. So, therefore, people who don't understand this second seal of Dharma, they idealize someone to be like this or like that, and then when they don't see that, they think they go somewhere else, look for someone else more satisfactory. There is nothing that is satisfactory. This is the nature of samsara. Particularly when you're deluded, you will see nothing satisfactory. Because you're so deluded. You always looking for the satisfactory. That's the wrong view. Because you are following the wrong view, you will never get the right view. If you have the right view, then you see the unsatisfactory thing, you just accept the unsatisfactory as unsatisfactory. Then you can laugh at each other, still remain good friends. But otherwise you think that, this is unsatisfactory friends, you let me down or whatever, that kind of drama. And then person becomes even more unsatisfactory. They will never find another satisfactory friends because they never will. Buddha never said there is anyone that's satisfactory. That's why Dharma alone is the refuge. If you can prove Dharma as unsatisfactory, then we have a big argument. But otherwise, everything is unsatisfactory. Whether it's your father that failed you or your teacher that failed you, it's not that they are both unsatisfactory, and you just expect them both to be satisfactory, and that's your problem. So you're unsatisfactory as well. You're unsatisfactory son, you're unsatisfactory student. Not only the father is unsatisfactory, not only the teacher is unsatisfactory, the student is also unsatisfactory. The Buddha said all things are unsatisfactory. Whatever is afflicted. What is afflicted is unsatisfactory. Whatever is compounded is impermanent. Whatever is deluded is impure, and what is merely labeled is devoid of self. These four are four seals of Dharma. For verse number 48. Now he, having said that in this verse, now Nagarjuna goes to explain the main subject of selflessness, devoid of self, in verse number 49. He says, "It is said, form is not self. Self does not possess form. Self does not reside in form, and form does not reside in self. Understand the remaining for aggregate also as empty." So this is very, very important. Because if there is self, it must either be of the same nature of the aggregates, such as your body, etc., or something distinct from that. So it should be either similar or dissimilar. First of this possibility is refuted by the statement in the sutra saying that form is not self, all the way to saying that consciousness is not self. This constitutes the scripture. In the Heart Sutra, which we just read at the beginning, there's form is not self. Form is empty, and emptiness is self. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, and so on. Likewise, feeling is emptiness, and emptiness is feeling, and so on. So, one may therefore ask the reasoning there is to establish the point. The self is not the same essence as form, because these fallacies would follow. One as with form, etc., the self would also have to be impermanent and multiple in number, because there are so many so many forms, from head hair to body hair to nose hair to, I don't know, all kinds of places, hairs, and just then the nails, then the fingers and joints and limbs and so on. So there are so many multiple selves, multiple selves. Second is, since form, etc., has substance, the self would also have to possess substance. So where's the substance? Where you can see the color, shape, where's the self that has got that? Third is, since the perception of self would then apprehend an object possessing substance, the seeds of such a view, by virtue of correctness, would never be eliminated by the appropriate antidote. So in the Madhyamika Avatara by Chandakirti, it says that if the aggregates were self, there being many, such as 5 aggregates, it too would become multiple. Self would possess substance, and since its perception would be a substance, it would not be erroneous. So, secondly, if the self were a nature of different from that of the form, and so forth, it would take an attributes of one possessing form and so forth, in the way of Devadatta possess an ox, 2, being grounded in the form, and the rest Devadatta is seated upon the mat. 3, having form, etc., grounded in it, like a wine is grounded in the earth. The first thesis is incorrect because the statement in the sutras, I'm reading from Rendava's commentary on this verse. The first thesis is incorrect because the statement in the sutras, ranging from self does not possess form up to self does not possess consciousness, this constitutes scripture evidence. The reasoning is as follows. Devadatta is said to possess an ox, in the sense that ox is an object controlled by him. The self possessed no such control over form, etc., for form and the rest are seen to undergo both change from one condition to another, and ultimately destruction, even though it is unwanted. Second thesis is incorrect because statement in the sutras ranging from self is not seated upon form up to self is not seated upon consciousness. This is scriptural evidence. The reason is as follows. Devadatta is said to be seated upon a mat in the sense that it serves as the support, serves as his support. The self is not seated upon form, etc., because form and so on, acting as the support, are impermanent. All these would neither necessitate the self being impermanent as well. The third thesis is incorrect because statement from the sutra ranging form is not seated upon the self up to form is not seated upon consciousness. This is scripture evidence. As for the reasoning, aggregated form, etc., are not grounded in the self in the manner that a vine is grounded on the earth. 1, because form and rest based on permanent self would never undergo destruction. 2, in such a case, the processes of arising and undergoing destruction pertaining to the aggregates would depend upon self, yet these would be the aggregates would depend upon self. Yet this would be incorrect, for the process of arising and undergoing destruction pertaining to external forms can be seen to occur in the absence of any self. It should be understood through the same scriptural evidence and reasoning used in examining the aggregates of form that the four sensation and so on, 4 aggregates, are likewise void of self, which is in either of the same essence as or as separate entity from the aggregates themselves. The view opposing this explanation with regard to each of the 5 aggregates in different aspects, in 4 different aspects, such as the view that form is the self, etc., are called 20 extremes of the views of the perishable assemblage, what we usually call transient collections. The remedy for these views are are the declaration, form is not the self, and so forth. The following verse stated in the, so that's the verse description, the verse number 49. This is, I'm reading from a commentary by Rendawa. Rendawa is the one of the very prominent Tibetan teacher in Madhyamika philosophy, or who also is a great early scholar of Sakyapa tradition and the celebrated teacher of Lama Tsongkhapa. His commentary on Nagarjuna's letter is considered to be the most authentic, and it has been translated and was published by Tibetan Library of Archives quite a while ago. So, so people who wish to get that's easily available through Amazon, I suppose, and many other avenues. Now it goes to explain the next verse to illustrate that the aggregates arise from compatible causes and conditioning factors. This is done through the rejection of the position that the aggregates have no causes or they arise from incompatible causes. So this is in the verse number covered in verse number 50. The aggregate arise neither at random nor from time, nature, their own essence, nor from Ishvara, means God, nor without a cause. Understand they arise from ignorance, karma, and craving. I think I'll read that commentary also from the same, because this is fairly important. The aggregates of form and the rest do not fall from the sky at random without depending on anything else. For it can be observed that they are contingent upon the presence of appropriate causes and conditioning factors. One erroneous views in this position. Time matures the elements, time encompasses individual, time brings on sleep and awakens, time is difficult to transcend. Yet the belief that the aggregates arise from time, which is a permanent substance, is incorrect, because 1, time cannot be observed apart from the entities of form and the rest. 2, all entities arising from permanent time would have to arise and perish at the same time. The Sankhya is an Indian philosophy school, claim that the aggregates evolve from a primordial substance called Prakriti, which is permanent and are comprised of an equilibrium of the 3 attributes of the force, rajas, tamas, and the sattvas, force, mass, and purity, is also incorrect, because 1, for the primordial substance and its manifestation to be of same essential nature would require that the primordial substance, like the manifestation, be impermanent. And 2, for them to be of different nature would contradict the basic premise that everything possesses the same essence as the primordial substance. Neither do the aggregates arise from their own essential nature, because 1, it would follow that they do not depend upon causes or conditioning factors, and 2, it is incorrect for the essential nature of a thing to depend upon something else. The Nyaya school claims that entities originate from an eternal divine creator called Ishvara, who is endowed with the various other qualities expressed in the following quotation. Subtly and inconceivably pervasive, the omniscient creator of all, the wisdom achieved by yoga, the object of one's dhyana meditation, he who embodies the sun, moon, earth, air, water, fire, direction, and space, those desiring blissful peace should ever meditate upon Ishvara. This doctrine is, however, incorrect. 1, because creation of entities by permanent substance would not depend on anything else, and hence those entities would arise all at once. And 2, if things arose in sequential order by the will of the Ishvara, then they would depend on a cause which was different from Ishvara, thereby contradicting the basic premise that everything was produced by him. If in rebuttal, it is claimed that the various wills of the Ishvara originate from him, in him, then it follows that all the different wills arise at the same instance. Whereas if the initial wills are said to have sequential order, the condition that must depend upon another will different from Ishvara. Hence, the doctrine incurs the fallacy of an infinite regress. Thus, it is determined that the aggregates arise neither from an incompatible cause nor without a cause. Latter case, because aggregates would then either arise externally or never exist at all. If one asks from what the aggregates do originate, the reply is as follows. An undamaged seed covered in earth and fertilizer and subsequently moistened by water produces a sprout. In the same way, potent karma enveloped with ignorance and moistened by desire produces sprout of a future existence. Thus, the next verse states, one should understand that they, aggregates, arise through ignorance, karma, and this desire. So this is now going to elaborate how things arise from ignorance, karma, and desire. In verse number 51, it says, clinging to morality and behavior as supreme, viewing one's body with the wrong view. Any doubt are the three complete fetters. Know that they block the gates, gates to the city of liberation. So, misunderstanding the ascetic practices refers to the belief that moral and ascetic practice which have developed from erroneous philosophical conception will provide very purification of deliverance. The perverted view of one's being, more commonly known as a view of the perishable assemblage or transient collection, is the false belief that the five closely grasping, these are five aggregates, either constitute a self or pertain to a self. Doubt is a state of mind in which one is divided in one's attitude towards liberation and path leading to it. The three bonds are, by analogy, like obstacles to one traveling to a direction's desired region in that they correspond to the condition. One, not wanting to go. Two, resorting to a wrong path. Third, having doubt with respect to what is in fact the right path. Because of the false belief in a self, due to the view of the perishing assemblage, which means transient collection, one does not wish to attain liberation where no self is present. Believing in the supremacy of erroneous moral and ascetic practice, one relies upon false path, one which does not lead to liberation. Doubt, in turn, causes one to give rise to skepticism concerning that which is the true path. These three attitudes should hence be understood as obstacles that block the gate to the city of liberation and must be abandoned. So we'll stop there. 51. So it's talking about how to block how the wrong views block oneself to gaining entry into the city of liberation. So you can see Nagarjuna is slowly building his argument, the need to understand the emptiness of self in relation to the aggregates. If the one is not able to understand how one's own ignorance, karma, and craving are the causes of these very existence, and if one is not ignorant of ignorance and not ignorant of karma and not ignorant of the craving, then one will be able to overcome this, and therefore we will not misapprehend aggregates being truly existing or created by Ishvara. All that kind of fallacy would not occur. Because if, as long as one continues to hold the erroneous views of one's body as truly existing or permanent or something created by God or whatever the case might be, without any linkage to ignorance, karma, and craving, then they block oneself to gain any sense of liberation, moksha. Not only when we say liberation as a kind of a ultimate liberation, but even temporarily we become constantly havocked by sufferings. We are not freed from greed and ill will and resentment and sadness, and we are stuck. We do not know how to free ourselves from doubt, from wrong views, from resentment, from negativities, because we do not know, we are stuck in the very prison of samsara that is oscillated by the mutual dependency of ignorance, craving, and karma. When one is cognizant of the, even ignorance doesn't really exist, let alone karma perpetuated by it, and why would one crave for anything that is created by them anyway? So when one has this kind of ability to not cling to the supreme self-righteous morality and not grasping to the notion of permanent soul, then of course you are no longer walled in the city of samsara, you know. You're not walled into this quagmire of samsara, and you can almost taste liberation. Moksha means almost the lightness of not doing ignorance and karma and craving. So there's this kind of absence of craving. There's amazing sense of luminosity, and because of that, one's luminosity doesn't make oneself to do or say or think that are volitionally negative, because you are not craving self and permanence and impurity as pure. You can see the emptiness of self. That is the body that we think is pure. There is no body that is pure. Bodies are just a transient collections, from initially from our parental fluid, and there ever since all the other things that we've been adding to it. It's just a constantly snowballing impure substance after impure substance. So there is no craving to develop that as a grasping as mine or me or in me or of me. So be it form, feeling, or whatever. You may have feeling, but you don't have too much detachment to unpleasant feeling. You have no attachment to pleasant feeling. You can't avoid having feeling because you are conditioned by karmically born in this physical body. So you are devoid of that. You can't. It's one thing we cannot exempt from having feelings, but nevertheless the feeling is not truly permanently inherently existing, and same goes with the form, perception, volition, and consciousness. So then there is no city of samsara. You don't have to go to city of liberation when you don't have city of samsara. Some city of samsara is not a terrible place, nor is city of liberation some wonderful place. It's just a mental state, state of mind. So when you become cognizant of the Dharma, when you're meditating, when you're developing loving kindness, and when you're developing the right view, particularly with loving kindness with the right view, generosity with the right view, deity yoga with the right view, and mantra recitation with the right view, calm abiding with the right view, then you are already in that city of liberation. You are You're not doing afflictions. You're not doing craving. You're not doing ignorance. You're consciously sort of repealing these three, and that's moksha. Moksha means liberation. Liberation means you're liberating from, you're not doing suffering and the causes of it, Because you're not doing the suffering, there is no suffering. There is no suffering. Suffering is emptiness. Emptiness is suffering. Suffering is empty of inherent existence. And because of you don't have to undo a suffering that doesn't exist. You don't have to gain a liberation that does not inherently exist. You see what I mean? So city of liberation is not a kind of distance. It has got a zero distance, It's totally zero distance. Even distance is empty of inherent existence. So there is not a goer, and there's no distance to go to, and there's no destination to go to. When you are able to understand thoroughly how not to do ignorance, karma, and craving. And when you not do ignorance, you are luminously wise in the right view. When you're in the right view, there is inaction. There is no action consummated by the body, speech, and mind, because there is no craving. So the craving, when the craving stops, it's because of no ignorance. When there is no craving, it does not create any karma. And absence of these three is what we call the unlocking the city of the liberation, and locking the city of samsara. That's what. So Nagarjuna is therefore slowly showing the king, Gautami Putra, to the really fundamental teachings of the Dharma to realize the right view. And whether you are doing sadhana meditation, whether you're doing karma body meditation, especially insight meditation, studying Mahayana Buddhism, or whatever it is, ultimately we are all trying to achieve this state. Okay, so we'll conclude here this evening for that, and do the dedication merit. Thank you very much, everyone. Om Bade Mere Me Havaga Dadeva Anzaga Omneza Me Ale Berero Bin Brande Ajana Badade Zenede Yerenda Mahayana Jije Vadeva Meredaya Meobi Begas Lavaza Choedak Mahayana Jiji Kareja Manjushenavode Azama Dabara de Lava Follow it Avade Zamba Ajade Deke Ade Mere Mede Zalemba de Jeda Tebe Erenaya Danzo where has been bo Mejenger Freele Vedadi Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.